Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm playing with the October box from the Not2ShabbyShop. Now the box is sold out and I did just check Jamie's website and it looks like the Gingerbread Kisses paper pad is still available. But the stamp sets and paper pads are always kind of exclusive to the box. So you can subscribe to the box each month or you can buy it a la carte, like 1 month at a time. But I would suggest you do that, check out some of the sneak peeks at the end of each month and grab it at the first of the month if you really think you want it, just because they have been selling out pretty quickly. Okay, so today I am making a couple of Slimline cards and an A2 card. And what I'm doing here is I'm playing with a card front. So this is not the base, but it's just a card front that goes on the front. And I stamped out these adorable gingerbread and watercolored them up. I'm making a background. So I really wanted to make a Slimline card and play around with the stamps, ephemera, paper. I wanted to play with everything, really. I thought this box was just so precious. I loved it, loved it, loved it. So here are my watercolored gingerbreads. And now I did a really quick coloring for all of these just because I knew most of it is actually going to be covered up by the time I'm done with a card. I did go in and add some black dots. You guys have probably seen me do this before. I just really feel like it helps join a design together. I don't know. For me, it makes sense. So I'm playing around here with my frames. This is an old MFT die, like way old, very, very old. But I'm going back through and I'm just showing more love to some of my die sets. And this is like a labels die. It's nice because it's a stackable, so it had different sizes. So I created my own frame with it. And I'm going to turn this into a shaker card. So I decided to show some of that Gingerbread Kisses paper here, and because I thought it kind of blended nicely with the background that I created. And so I'm building up my frames. I put a few layers of these so the frame would really be sturdy and stand out. I am going to make these two panels here shakers. So I thought that would be fun to add an interactive element. So I'm just gluing this piece down on each side. I loved the little gingerbread in the cup and the gingerbread houses. It's just so, so cute. And now I'm gluing this frame down to some clear acetate so that I have my window for my shaker cards. And using the dies made this really easy. So especially with the type of dies that I had, I really like stackable or nestable dies where you get the same shape but different sizes. So you can easily make shaker cards like this. I'd gotten a little glue. I had it on my desk and then it got on my window and I had to clean up both sides. All right, so now that I have that done, I'm going to adhere some foam tape. Now this is an 1/8 of an inch foam tape. So you can get that from lots of different places. And I really like having it for shaker cards. Just like this, it fit this frame perfectly. I didn't have to trim anything down. I know a lot of times, you can trim down the one size foam tape that you have usually, but this just cuts that whole process out, and it comes in these long strips, which is really handy. All right, so now I'm gluing these pieces down, and I wish two things. I would have used a T ruler to get everything aligned straight on the two cards I'm designing today. And I also wish I would have bumped these up a bit. So I end up having to trim it off. Okay, I'm bringing in these picket fence sequins. These are a new release that I got at Not Too Shabby. And these are the 1950s holiday sequins. I absolutely love them. They have a couple of different kinds of snowflakes, like a silver snowflake, a white snowflake, and then these fantastically pink sequins. It's a great mix. I really love picket fence sequins. Okay, and so now I'm putting my frames down. I didn't use any anti-static powder tool this time, and I didn't really need it. I only did one layer of the foam tape, and this one doesn't get real sticky on the sides, so I like that I don't have to put the anti-static powder tool on there. Now, because I had to trim down my card front, because the placement of those two shakers was not exactly aligned the way I wanted it to, I decided to bring in my watercolors again and just kind of color up some random blue background here. And then I added some gold watercolor splatter to add even more interest. And now that will help fill in the card front for me. So put lots of glue on that. And I am just going to glue it down. So you only see a little bit of the blue peeking around the edges, which is exactly what I wanted. And now, after a little bit of fussing, my shaker is done. Now I'm using a similar approach here with my second card. It's a Slimline, and I'm doing a similar thing, but this time I decided to use ephemera. So I stacked up all my ephemera and picked out the pieces that I want to build my background with. Instead of stamping and coloring, I wanted to show you another approach where you could use ephemera for this part. So I just picked out my pieces and kind of laid them out. Of course, I only need them at the edges because I'm going to use that same labels die and create two focal points on the Slimline card. So this Slimline measures 3 3/4 by 8.5 for the card base. So now I've got that laid out. Now I'm just kind of putting these pieces on just to see how I like it. And then I picked bigger pieces of ephemera to go in the middle. And yeah, I decided I like it, so it's time to get to gluing. Now I had to cut out a few extra of the center panel sized pieces. I wanted to stack those kind of high. So these end up being 3 pieces high, including the pattern paper that I'm about to glue on them. And I really just like the dimension that adds. So I like either the frames being extra high or the centerpieces. I just think it adds extra interest for sure. So that's what I'm doing here. This card, of course, came together much more quickly than the one where I was stamping and coloring, but I had fun making both of them. And I just wanted to show you like one card design, but that there's multiple ways to get there sometimes. So if you have a bunch of extra ephemera and you're trying to use up your kit, a design like this would be great. If you've run out of ephemera and you want to play and you want to color, then the first design I showed you would be a great option. Once I had all of those pieces adhered down, then I just trimmed off the edges, cleaned everything up. And it's always important, to have some of your pieces overhang. It just makes it, more interesting to the eye. I did put gold splatter all over that as well. And now this one really needed a T ruler. Like, I really should have used one. I've had a migraine for 3 days. It has been so debilitating. And so I can admit I was not at the top of my game here, but I really like these cards and I love the way they turned out. I've kind of been stuck on like a 3 panel or 3 focal point for slimlines, and so it's nice to kind of change things up and use these 2 bigger pieces. I've been doing so good uh, with my crafty purchases lately, cutting them back. But I did buy some whimsy stamps and dies yesterday, and I got the new ATC Slimline set. And so I was very inspired by that for this card making session. I've definitely been playing around more with some of these things you're seeing here, as far as if you saw some of my videos last week, playing with wider margins, playing with layers of backgrounds and color. So I've been having a lot of fun with that in my design here lately. Here I'm making a 5x7 card, but I'm starting with a card base this part is going to be 4x5. Let's see, I think it's 4x5.5. I was just making it up as I went. I had this leftover frame that I wanted to use, and I really wasn't done. I wanted to make at least one more card. Because of my migraine, I didn't get to really craft this weekend. So by the time I got to sit down and make these cards, I was really ready to make. So I just pulled in 3 pieces of ephemera. This card is super simple. And I had this frame left over from my die cutting. I did put that 1/8 of an inch foam tape behind it. And then I'm going to pop up this little piece with the same strips of foam tape just around at the very top and the very bottom, so that it sits nicely over the frame. And so right now this is cut to 4x6, and then I'll end up trimming it down more. But first I'm going to bring in these pearls. I've really been enjoying flat back pearls more in my designs lately, and I think they're kind of perfect for the holidays. Now these are like black iridescent, which probably wouldn't be the first thing I would normally think of, but I think they worked perfectly with this card. I really like that this box had 2 different kind of color stories to it this month, and 2 totally different looks. And it's funny, at first the gingerbread kisses was the one that just like I was oohing and awing over, and then I ended up really also enjoying crafting with this one. It was just fun. So then after trimming down my main decorative panel, then I cut another panel to go behind it, which I ended up doing at 4.5x6. So that way it's just slightly bigger. You could always die cut something out of the center of this if you didn't want to just have the whole sheet on there and you wanted to get the most out of your paper. But I decided just to glue my focal point down. And so that is the front of my card. Now I used up my scraps today and put them on the insides of all of my cards. So any little scrap that I had left, which I discovered, oh wait, there's another one over there. Let me grab that one too. And then I brought in another piece of ephemera for each one. This piece says gnome for the holidays, which I thought was so cute, and it ties in the gnome on the front of the card as well. So here are my 3 cards for you guys today. We have this fun gingerbread kisses, so sweet shaker card, and I just love it. It's got a lot to look at. It has a lot of interest. I know I've said this many times before, but like with my card design, I feel like I know when I'm done when there's plenty of interest to draw your eye in and have someone appreciate the card a little longer. And then here's this one. I really love this card. I love the color palette so much. And it's just so fun with all those greetings and pieces of ephemera around. I think I already know who I'm sending this one to. I really like it. And then this last 5x7 is lots of fun too. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. Let me know which card is your favorite down below, and I definitely would encourage you to give this a try. Go over to Not2Shabby, check out what Jamie has in the shop. Use the code N2S10 to save 10%, and I'll see you next time. Bye.